Hello, once again, welcome to the Law Professor. In today's presentation, we shall be looking at maintenance under the laws of matrimonial causes in Nigeria. What does maintenance entail? This presentation is meant to give us an overview of the expectations we should have regarding any discussion regarding the law of maintenance in Nigeria when a marriage is being dissolved. In our usual way, I will share my screen and expect that we follow through with the presentation. Now, the law of maintenance, what does it entail? What does it entail? In this context, I'll just say that our learning outcomes for today are for us to be able to appreciate the legal framework for maintenance in family law under the Nigerian legal system. You'll be able to know that when you want to talk about maintenance, for instance, you should determine the system of law that you have to apply to the facts of a case that is presented before you in a law exam, for instance. You would understand the meaning of maintenance, whether it is the creation of statute, whether it exists as common law, and different dynamics of maintenance. You understand the purpose, the essence of having maintenance law, and then appreciate the legal issues that may arise in examinations. You know, what we sometimes call the issues, or the, what are the areas that will have issues concerning. Now, the legal framework for maintenance in Nigeria, we've always emphasized the fact that Nigeria operates a plural legal system. That is, we look at it therefore under the customary system, under the Islamic system, under the statutory system that is found under the Matrimonial Causes Act and the Matrimonial Causes Rules, or the Child Rights Act when it comes to children. And therefore, the parameter for discussion should always emphasize which field of law, which system of law you are talking about. We talk about, you should also understand that maintenance law could cover child maintenance, which can be obtained as a component of ancillary reliefs under Part 4 of the Matrimonial Causes Act of Nigeria, or independently under the Child Rights Act, in which case you don't even need to discuss the form of marriage that the parents might have had. You can also arise under customary law and under Islamic law. So what do these laws say concerning child maintenance? And essentially, this series of discussions are to focus on post-divorce maintenance issues. Then you have the spousal maintenance, which also exists under the stated legal systems that we talked about, the customary system, the Islamic system, and then we look at, and then this, the difference in terms of when spousal maintenance represents an ancillary reliefs, whether it exists in customary law, for instance, whether it would exist under the Islamic system. Maintenance, when we talk about maintenance, what do we mean? Normally in family law, you can talk about maintenance in some different ways. It could mean a component of the law consortium. When you talk about the legal effects of marriage, one of the aspects that we talk about is that the duty to maintain, and common law duty was placed, for instance, on the husband to maintain the wife and children of the marriage. That's the case of Nana Nana. The husband had that duty at common law. Of course, because of the status that common law has tried to demand as against the man, as the head of the home, and as the one that represented their legal personality in law. So you have that kind of maintenance, but then you can define it. For instance, if you look at the Maintenance Orders Act, says an order that, rather than an order of affiliation for the periodical payment of sums of money towards the maintenance of the wife or other dependents of the person against whom the order is made. So it's it could be an order issued by a court against a husband, or against, as we'll see later, in this context of the extant legal regime, against a wife. But essentially, we could say that for the purpose of these discussions that we'll be having subsequently, that maintenance is a financial award made to a spouse during or after marriage. A financial order of award made in favor of a spouse against the other spouse is essentially be found under the Matrimonial Causes Act, or the Child Rights Act, for instance, if it's relating to statutory provisions. Okay. Then under the customary system and the Islamic law system, you also have this maintenance orders that could be made in favor of a child, but not in favor of a spouse. What was the purpose of the law of maintenance? What does it do? Essentially, it's meant to address the economic consequences of divorce, to make sure that even though this, even though there's a divorce that's taking place, the parties to the marriage are not adversely affected to an extreme extent by the effects of divorce. Maintenance, that's as far as spouses are concerned. Then when it comes to children, of course, the children are not responsible for the breakdown of the marriage. So the law of maintenance is intended to support children of a marriage who are still financially dependent on their parents, either because they are underage or because there are some special circumstances that surround them that even though they are over age, that it's still expedient that they be provided for. Now, as we go along with various discussions in these following presentations, you will be expected to understand the legal framework to test your knowledge of applicable law to case scenarios. So whether it is customary law, whether it's Islamic law, whether it's statute you apply, you should be able to know at the end of all those presentations. You will also be expected to understand the people that can apply, the persons that can apply for maintenance under the various legal systems, whether it's Child Rights Act or the Matrimonial Causes Act, whether it's Islamic law. Who are those who are qualified for maintenance? Can a spouse, for instance, apply in Islamic law for post-divorce? That is, after you have separated from the spouse, that you should be paying some giving some financial support to that person. So we'll have to understand who can apply, the beneficiaries of maintenance, whether it is a spouse, a child. If it's a child, what kind of child? What is the age of the child? Is it a child of the marriage or is it just any child? And then in the Matrimonial Causes Act, it talks about child of the marriage, also about relevant time, being a member of a household. So you should be able to define who is a child for the purpose of law of maintenance. What are the relevant times that are called into consideration in any case? You also must have an understanding of how awards are made. How does the court exercise its discretion? Because maintenance is always a discretionary remedy. So what are the factors that I would consider exercise its discretion? And you must have the knowledge of the factors used to determine the award in different legal systems. Also, at the end, you may be tested on the types of award that can be made. Okay, is it the duration of the award? Can they be varied? So when you talk about tithes award, is it lump sum? Is it periodic, for instance? And then how long does it last? Does it last for a lifetime? Does it end at a particular time? What factors will make it come to an end? These are some of the things you look at for in your case scenarios, in your practices to see, okay, am I in tune with the law? You must be able to appreciate the gray areas of the law of maintenance. For example, there's always the question as to whether you can bring an independent action for maintenance. In other words, if there is no divorce, there's no proceedings for nullity. Can someone claim, for instance, the wife claim that she wants to apply for maintenance because the husband is not maintaining the home, especially in the light of the provisions of the Matrimonial Causes Act? So we shall expect that you'll be able to appreciate the discussions and the various sections of the MCK and the issues surrounding it that bring up this discussion. We should also be able to appreciate how awards can be enforced. There is no point the court issuing an order that you should pay financial, to pay some money to someone for maintenance if it cannot be enforced. So what are the parameters for enforcement of maintenance awards? And then you should be able to appreciate differences between maintenance and other awards like settlement of property or division of property. Settlement of property that you find under the Matrimonial Causes Act, and then division of property that you find under the Married Women Property Act. The ability to distinguish these three concepts is very important for any law student and for legal practice, and whether they can be claimed together or whether they can be they must be independently claimed. So these are the various major aspects of the law of maintenance that we shall be looking at in the subsequent videos. So thank you for listening. Please subscribe, share, and like the video, and I look forward to seeing you at the next presentation.